Welcome to another video, or welcome if you are new. My name is Chelsea and this is my February TBR. Really excited for this month. There's a anticipated new release coming out very soon that I'm really excited to read. And I've got a bunch of fun sequels and completing some series that I've been reading that I can't wait to get to. So let's get started. First we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is a new release, much anticipated. I love Ali Hazelwood's writing. She's never done a fantasy romance before, so this one just looks fun and sounds amazing. She tends to do STEM, like academia kind of romantic comedies, traditionally like The Love Hypothesis, and those are just really fun books for me and I really enjoy her writing. In this book, we're gonna have an alliance between a vampire bride and an alpha werewolf. They are enemies in this world, the vampires and the werewolves. It's gonna be like a marriage of convenience, paranormal romance, where it kind of looks like the bride has some other ideas of what's gonna be happening. And I'm really excited to see what Ali Hazelwood does with a fantasy romance. Then we have a contemporary romance. I want to read Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I've never read anything by Lauren Asher before. I've heard really good things, especially about this book. A lot of people have been talking about it. It's part of the Lakefront Billionaires series. I believe it's the first one in that series. It's childhood rivals, kind of frenemies. Sounds like a steamy small town romance where she comes back and they have a temporary truce and he gives her a job to hopefully get rid of her so she can leave faster. And there's been a lot of like denied attraction between the two. So it sounds like a really fun romance and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So hopefully I will like this one and I will be reading more of Lauren Asher in the future. Then we have Ruthless Vows, which is the sequel to Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I am so excited to read this. This is top priority for me for this month. I really loved Divine Rivals. It had such a good love story in it, such an interesting take on war and grief. I really liked following characters who were journalists during the war, and the magical elements were really interesting in this too. We have our couple, Iris and Roman. They're rival journalists in the first book, and they both have different things going on, but their kind of slow burn romance throughout the story was really lovely. I love the writing. Rebecca Ross does such a good job with their romance. I'm super excited for this. I'm excited to learn more about this war between the gods and the way the last book ended. I'm just really intrigued to see if they find each other and how the romance progresses. And it's a duology, so this is the last book and I'm really excited to see what happens here and hopefully it's not too sad. Then I want to read Slaying the Vampire Conqueror by Carissa Broadbent. Carissa Broadbent has become one of my favorite authors in the last year. She wrote the Crowns of Nyaxia series, which I really liked, and also The Daughter of No Worlds that I read the first book of and really, really enjoyed. I think this is going to be a fun enemies to lovers romance. It's set in the same world as the Crowns of Nyaxia, so we're gonna have vampires, and it sounds like our main female character is like an assassin type who is sent in to infiltrate the vampire conqueror's armies and get close to him so that she can eventually kill him. She takes on this mission and I'm excited that it's just a standalone fantasy romance in the same world that I already love, and I'm really interested to see what she does with the story because it sounds really, really fun. Then I want to read A Kingdom This Cursed and Empty by Stasia Stark. This is the second book in the series of A Kingdom This Cruel and Lovely that I read last month and absolutely loved. In this story we have Preska. She is in this world where everyone has magical abilities when they're born, but it's taken from them and then it's given back to them once they are 25 years old. and certain people, for whatever reason, still have magical abilities, and that is really bad. They literally kill you if they find out you have these magical abilities. So because of certain situations, she ends up being on the run in the beginning of this book, and she runs into this mercenary who she's had some dreams about in the past, even though she didn't know him. And him and his crew kind of leave her for dead, and she hates him. And then they run into each other again, and he realizes she could be useful to them. So she helps him kind of get into this city where she has like time magic, is how it's explained. And he helps her kind of get better at her magic and her powers so that he can be able to get into this city without being seen, basically. And then there's this slow romance between them. The banter and bickering between them throughout the story is great. He's kind of a really rough character at first, but then he slowly, like I said, he wanted to just leave her for dead and wanted nothing to do with her, but he has like other goals that he's trying to overcome, and their romance gets really, really great. I think it was a really good first book in a series, and the way that that book ended, there was a lot that happened in the ending that I'm really excited to kind of see more from the second book, probably more of this world and more of the fun characters, and obviously more romance between our couple. So I can't wait to read this, and then there's a third book after that, so hopefully I love this series because this first book was a really, really good start. And then I need to read The Ever Queen by L.J. Andrews. This is the sequel to The Ever King, which I read last month. And in this duology, it's another fantasy romance with fae. There are earth fae, and then there are like water sea fae. And our male love interest, he is sort of like a pirate sea fae. He steals our girl in the beginning from her kingdom, and he brings her to his kingdom. And basically she has like an ability to help save his kingdom from this plague that's happening, and there's a lot of like evil characters within his own court that are trying to kill him and take her. It's such a fun series. I really can't wait to see the conclusion. The way this one also ended was insane. I really, really liked just how fun this series was. I don't think I took the plot like too seriously, but it really just moved and I got sucked in immediately, and it was just a really good time. Hopefully we get a little more from our main female character, and I thought the love story was really, really well done and quite beautiful, and I just can't wait to see what happens at the end of this. Eric and Olivia's romance was so beautiful, and it was just really well done, and I kind of can't wait just to see what happens in the conclusion. Hopefully we get another action-packed story from this book, and I can't wait to read this conclusion. I have a lot of high hopes for these sequels, so hopefully this is going to be a good month, because I will be really sad if I don't end up liking the sequels as much as I liked the first books. Then we have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. I've seen this book all over the place, and I actually don't really know what this one is about. It's got more of a scholar academia feel to it, at least the cover does, and I believe it's like an enemies or like a rivals to lovers fantasy romance, where they're trying to figure something out, and she's been having like dreams about a fairy king all of her life since childhood, and her rival have to figure out this mystery. I don't really know much more else about it, but it sounds really cool, and I've seen it everywhere, so I'm pretty excited to read it. I've been waiting from the library to get a copy of it for a little while now, so it should be coming in like any day. I'm next in line, so I should definitely be reading this in February. The next book on my list, I want to try to read a few more romances this month because it is February. I want to read Dawn and Dusted by Lila Sage. This looks like a cowboy romance, which looks really fun. I've seen it all over the place, and I haven't really heard too much like review-wise, but I kind of like going into books like this not knowing too much, and hopefully I'll really like it. I know there's a sequel coming out later this year, so hopefully this will be a fun one that I'll want to continue reading. I also want to get to Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I want to at least read the first book this month. It's part of a larger series, and I know another book is about to come out as well. I didn't get to it last month, and the Jessa Hastings book I read in January ended up not being something I liked. But I think I'm gonna like this series a lot from what I've heard, and it kind of just sounds like a really interesting toxic series with different love interests and sort of more of a like rich young kids, like Gossip Girl style, but British, and all of their angst and craziness. And I'm kind of in the mood for that. I've been reading a lot of fantasy romance lately, which is great. I love that. And I want to start getting back into different romance, contemporary romance series. So I kind of want one that's just like kind of wild and crazy. So hopefully I can read at least the first one in the series, and then I know there's like some other ones, and they're all like much beloved. And I really liked Jessa Hastings' writing style, even though I didn't really like that book Never. So I think this will be really interesting. I just kind of can't wait to see if I like it or not. I'm tempted, I have the first book somewhere. I'm tempted to buy all of them just because I just don't know if I'm gonna like it, and I don't want to buy a whole series if I don't like it. So I guess comment below if you think it's worth buying the whole series, because I don't know. I have a feeling I'm gonna like it, but I know if I buy them all, then I won't like it. And if I don't buy them, I'm gonna love them and need to buy them all immediately. I don't know, I need a new obsession. I'm really excited to start these because I've heard some crazy things. So those are all the books I hope to read for February. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.